Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, then turn that notification button on right now.
For every great wrestling storyline, there are two that just don't make any sense. Or maybe that's just how it feels given how much a bad idea can pain fans sitting through it. Even great wrestlers aren't immune to a storyline that turns out to be a head scratcher at best, a groaner at worst. Hey, the WWE has put out a ton of hours of programming for decades. Some clunkers were inevitable. My name is John from Wrestling Hub, and here are 10 WWE storylines that defied logic and common sense. It's almost funny that WWE named their women's wrestling tournament the Mae Young Classic, given how much they put that woman through in her old age. It's not just all the impressive bumps she took, the WWE seemed to love the idea of an elderly woman supposedly having a sex life, so she was made a love interest of sexual chocolate Mark Henry.
Oh, you got a surprise? Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Talked to the doctor. He said when women go through pregnancies, they get hemorrhoids.
You said what?
Why? Henry even got her pregnant, and then Young gave birth to a bloody rubber hand on TV. It made literally no sense and was also incredibly disgusting. Poor Mickie James. She suffered both of the indignities of being called old and fat. Right now, Alexa Bliss is belittling James for being too old for WWE. Back in the day, she was Picky James and was repeatedly bombarded with cracks about her weight.
E-I-E-I-O, and on that farm she had a pig. E-I-E-I-O, with an oink oink here and oink oink there, here and oink there and oink everywhere.
Setting aside how uncomfortable this should make anybody feel, especially those familiar with WWE's poor track record with its female employees, they also never have basis in reality. James is not old, she's never been overweight, it's lazy storytelling at best. American Alpha was doing fine on SmackDown, until the WWE decided to split them up. Why did they do that? So they can move Jordan to Raw where his father, Angle, is the GM. Maybe this sort of involving Angle, could have worked in the bygone days of wrestling, but in 2017 this story just doesn't work. Everybody knows Jordan isn't really Angle's son, nobody is interested in the story either. Jordan is a big zero with the crowd. Meanwhile, Chad Gable is teaming up with Shelton Benjamin and is arguably in a better place than his former tag team partner, getting the big singles push on Mondays. While it may seem a little excessive to have another illegitimate son story back to back in this list, it must be included. Vince was the center of a lengthy storyline involving the unveiling of his own illegitimate son. This time it was played for laughs.
Who's my son?
Things are looking up, Mr. McMahon, but not for you, for your son.
Though, because it turns out it was Hornswoggle. Oh, you know, the little Irish guy who started his run as an ersatz leprechaun.
Oh my gosh! Look! Mr. McMahon's son is Hornswoggle!
Not only did it make no sense practically speaking, it also was a go-nowhere story that just seemed like WWE spinning its wheels. Hey, it could have been worse. The WWE briefly teased that Vince's son was Triple H, the man married to Vince's daughter Stephanie. The Undertaker once had a fake running around. Why shouldn't his brother Kane have the same thing happen? As the WWE was promoting See No Evil, the horror film they produced starring Kane, Kane started being haunted by a voice calling out May 19th. Then, a guy started running around dressed like classic Mask Kane. The original Kane explained it was some crazy kid from his old neighborhood that was dressing as him. But none of it really made any sense, and on top of that no one cared. But to WWE's credit, they seemed to realize this. When the two faced off, Kane swiftly dispatched of his imposter, and that was the end of that. These days, the general manager situation on Raw and SmackDown is quite clear. Raw used to have a mystery GM who made decisions through emails and laptops.
Please tell me this is some sort of sick joke.
It can't be. Can I have your attention, please?
Oh no!
I've just received an email from the anonymous Raw general manager.
The idea of a mystery man or woman pulling the strings behind the scenes could have worked, and could have made a lot of sense. Then it was revealed it had been Hornswoggle the whole time. Yep, Hornswoggle is back on the list. The lesson is, anytime a leprechaun is involved in a storyline, it probably isn't going to go well. Ironically, it's a sign of bad luck. Stone Cold needed time off for neck surgery, and they decided to get him off screen for storyline purposes by having him hit by a car.
What is this? Wait a minute! Good God Almighty! For God's sakes! That car just ran over Austin!
Who was driving the car though? The possibilities were absolutely endless. Then it turned out to be Rikishi.
Okay,
What?
I did it.
What?
Who was mostly known for dancing and really rubbing his butt in people's faces. Suddenly, he was responsible for a heinous act of attempted vehicular manslaughter. It didn't really make any sense, and the WWE tried to spin it, involving The Rock not getting enough respect or some such nonsense. Didn't make things any better. Oh, poor Bray Wyatt. The early version of his character, the one who was more Max Claddy / Waylon Mercy, was fine. Then he started to take on a spooky, supernatural persona, and everything he's done since then has really been garbage. His promos are gobbledygook. His haunted house match with Randy Orton was one of the worst matches in WWE history, and a confusing mess at that. Now he's feuding with Finn Balor and wearing a veil to become Sister Abigail. Honestly, maybe we should feel worse for Balor. He's the one who has to sell all this nonsense as scary. The WWE has always liked to get celebrities involved every now and again. Sometimes it works out fine, other times not so much. Case in point, Jon Stewart effectively turning heel and costing John Cena the WWE title.
No! Come on! What the hell did he do that for? No, Jon Stewart, what have you done?
Why would Stewart attack Cena and help Seth Rollins? Why would Stewart be involved at all? Why would Jon Stewart, a middle-aged comedian and political firebrand, hit John Cena with a steel chair? We could keep asking questions, but there are no answers. You may say Jinder Mahal being World Heavyweight Champion doesn't make sense, and nobody's going to argue with you. However, what makes even less sense is how Mahal retained his title at Battleground. Mahal was taking on Randy Orton in a Punjabi prison match.
Drop the outer cage.
The official is now calling for the outer structure to be dropped now over the site of this Punjabi prison. Interior structure can...
A match designed to keep people from interfering. So how did the match end? The Great Khali, who had not appeared on WWE programming for years, showed up to help Mahal win.
That's the creator of the match, the Punjabi prison, that's the Great Khali. Oh, look at this. What the? Great Khali is here, and Randy Orton, the match. Orton's hanging over with one arm, remember he's got that. And Jinder Mahal retains the WWE title.
There was no reason given for this, although we are probably supposed to assume it was because Khali and Mahal were both Indian. We don't know, and probably won't know because Khali hasn't been back on TV since. It was baffling, to say the least. And these were 10 WWE storylines that defied logic and common sense and hurt my head a lot. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching Wrestling Hub, and I will see you later with more wrestling videos.